And action. Hi everybody, it's me, JVR, coming at you with a new Theater Thursday! Yay! Okay, we're gonna get real in here, people. There's gonna be fire-breathing monsters about because we're doing How to Train Your Dragons. And, it's awesome. But, if you have not seen this movie or whatever, consider this your spoiler alert. Take it in. Accept it. Okay? I'm warning you. It's there. Okay? Okay. How to Train Your Dragon stars this guy. His name is Hiccup. He lives in this... Okay, how can I explain this to you? He lives in this, world where, it's kind of the Viking era. His dad's a Viking and everybody's around him is a Viking and he's a Viking. He lives in this, Viking village, you could say, called Burke. And it's kind of, in the middle of nowhere. I don't know where it's located, but I'd assume, one of those Viking places. But moving on. He's kind of... Everybody around him, they're kind of big and they're strong and they're tough. They're Vikings. Does that make sense? They're the typical what you expect of a Viking. They have the horn hats and they're all big and tough and mean. Hiccup's kind of scrawny and he's kind of little. He's a weakling to all the other people that surround him, and he kind of wants to be more like them. And in this town, there's a big deal about you really become a somebody or a legend, or you get noticed if you capture a dragon, or at least if you kill one, because dragons, at least in this time and era, they're not good. Obviously, they're bad. They fire breathe and they destroy villages and they take sheep and they hunt their supplies and, they leave the village in wreckage, right? So everybody, tries to kill the dragon, and when Hiccup tries to, prove himself against, some of the other Vikings, his dad, who's, the chief, and, these, other kids who are the same age, and they're going to be the future dragon hunters, he fails at it. He makes a big mess, and everybody blames him that everything that goes wrong is kind of Hiccup's fault, even though, he's a teenager, people mess up, people are awkward, right? But he's really trying to impress, his dad. And then there's this other person he's, really interested in. Her name is Astrid. And she is, a total badass. She's, I guess, a lot of what teenage guys want in a girl, at least in that time frame. They want somebody who's beautiful. And they want somebody who could kick some butt, right? Astrid's both of those things. But Hiccup wants to, capture a dragon to impress her and his dad. But he doesn't find one. And then when he does think that he catches one, he loses it, right? But then one day he's in the woods and he's looking for his dragon that he supposedly caught, and then he's like, oh, how can I lose a dragon? And then he finds it all wrapped up in the net that he launched at it, and it's laying there, and he thought it was dead, so he was going to, or at least he thought it was going to die, so he was going to finish killing it off, right? And then he looked at the monster's big eyes, and then he gave him the kind of puppy dog kind of look, kind of acceptance that he was going to die, but Hiccup doesn't do it. Instead, he actually cuts him loose, and then he sets him free, and then the monster attacks him, and then he growls at him, and then he flies away, but he has trouble flying because the dragon, his tail is injured, and so he doesn't fly straight anymore. And he's like, oh, what did I just do? And then, he's put in a training with the other kids of how to kill a dragon, even though he now sees that he wouldn't be good at it. His dad finally lets him go out to fight dragons, at least to protect himself. And obviously, every time he tries to do it in the ring, he obviously fails and he messes up. And Astrid always gets mad. She's like, you're always in the way, and, whatever. And she kind of has that attitude of leave it to the professionals. Don't let amateurs try to run with the big leagues, if that makes any sense. Which, yeah, I guess you could see her point with dealing with dragons. Come on. But moving on. Later on, he's walking through the woods again, and then he comes, I guess you could say a cove, and then he sees the same dragon again, and then he tries to, approach it, and then the dragon doesn't hurt him because he remembers that, he saved him, and that, so Hiccup throws his knife away because he didn't want to approach the monster didn't want to approach him because of the weapon, so he threw it away. And then he's like all puppy dog and he's cute, and then he tries to feed him. He feeds him a fish, right? And then he's feeding him, and the monster's mouth is open. He's like, toothless. I could have sworn you had. And then his teeth like come out of his mouth, like he has retractable teeth. So that is how he becomes toothless. He names the dragon Toothless. He's this black dragon. He's absolutely adorable. He's, if dragons existed, you would so want this dragon in your life. But moving on. Him and Toothless become good friends of, over bonding, over, Hiccup feeding him fish, and Hiccup trying to help him fly out of this cove that he's stuck in, because he's stuck there because he injured him by the net. His tail got injured. So he tries to make him like a fake one where it was retractable and it could like move like this, where it would help him fly and glide. But unfortunately, it still doesn't work. Toothless needs somebody to help him fly. He can't fly on his own. So Hiccup trains Toothless to fly. So like he puts a saddle on him, and he puts like different types of equipment that attach to his foot. That way he could control the tail to move to different positions, and then that way he can move in everyday life. So in a way they kind of form this like bond, and they, both need each other in certain ways. And then through this, Hiccup kind of learns that dragons aren't all as bad as he's been told. He's been told that dragons are deadly and that they'll kill you at first sight and everything. But, if you learn to accept a dragon, if you learn to like help them, and, if you learn to like create that bond, if you will, they're not as bad. But, nobody else in the town or the village like believes him. So he has to like try to explain it to them by giving them their own dragons. So he gives them his like the group that he was with Astrid and the other guys, he gives them their own dragons, and then they have to fly to his dad, because his dad went to the nest of the dragons, and then there's like this killer queen who, the dragons have to serve, because if they don't, they'll die. The king, or his dad tries to kill the queen, but obviously it's a big, huge dragon monster, and obviously Hiccup has to save him and whatever. And then so him and Toothless, and then all the other kids on their other dragons, they defeat the mama dragon, and there's this huge explosion, and everybody thinks that Hiccup died because he like fell in the explosion in the fire. But the father is apologizing to Toothless, saying, I'm sorry, you shouldn't have had to lose him, whatever. And then Toothless opens his wings, and then Hiccup is actually like there in his arms, and then he's like, you saved him, he's alive, thank you. But what you don't know is that later on, Hiccup he wakes up from a coma, right? And when he wakes up, he's missing a foot, ironically, because I think it helps with the connection between him and Toothless even more, because Toothless is missing his left wing. Yeah, his left wing, and then Hiccup loses his left foot, right? So I think it's really like that kind of connection, like they're really this one and the same now. So Hiccup lives, and then the whole village celebrates, and they actually celebrate by bringing in dragons and celebrating that dragons are good now, they're okay. He's like, oh, I knew it, I'm dead. And then he's like, no, but you gave it your best try. And then at the end of the movie, Astrid punches him in the arm, and he's like, that's for scaring me. And he's like, is it always going to be this way with you? And then she grabs him, and then she kisses him, and then she pushes him away, and then he's like, I could get used to it. And then they all fly, and they're all playing a game, right? And then he's like, some places have pests like rats or, lizards. We have the best pets. We have dragons. And then it says How to Train Your Dragon at the end, and then obviously the roll credits. It's a beautiful movie. I think it sends a good message of acceptance. If I accept you, you accept me, that type of thing. And it creates that equilibrium, But if I have to rate the movie 1 out of 5, I'll give it a 5. It's a beautiful movie. I recommend it for you, your kids, or whatever. It's a good movie overall. But that wraps up this video. If you have any suggestions, write down in the comments, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!